There was a time in recent Major League Baseball history that African Americans could only be found in certain roles, either as a Major League ball player, which was groundbreaking in itself, or as part of the grounds crew. Ushering in another era of respect for African Americans in an executive position in sports is Dana Noel, manager of media relations and player appearances for the American League Chicago White Sox.
I grew up on the west side of Chicago, and at age 11, my father moved myself and my older brother and my younger sister to the suburbs, a suburb called Wheaton, Illinois, which is about 30 miles outside the city. I moved out to Wheaton at age 11, and a lot of the neighbor kids were playing football, and I had a love for football. And I got started in Little League football, and from there, I was very fortunate that God had given me a lot of ability. And by the time I was a senior in high school at Wheaton Central High School, I had received a full scholarship to the University of Minnesota. I went to the University of Minnesota and played defensive back and running back for 4 years. And when my playing days were over at the University of Minnesota, I was fortunate to go on and play a couple years professional football. I played for New Jersey Giants in the United States Football League in 1983. And for 1984, and I tried with a couple of other NFL clubs, but I was fortunate that, unfortunate or fortunate, I didn't make it, and as a result, after 4 years and 3/4, I got my degree from University of Minnesota with a major in psychology and a minor in communications. And when my playing days were over, I was trying to figure out what I really wanted to do. As a result, I went back to my alma mater and worked in the sports information office in 1986 and 87. In 1988, I got a call to come work for the White Sox to come back home in Chicago.
Dana's day begins the second he hits the driveway of the new Comiskey Park.
Most of the time when I walk in, there are about 4 or 5 messages on my desk from different media outlets, national media, local media. Some of the calls I can answer. Some of the calls are about setting up an interview, pre-game, before the game, etc. Then I sit down and I receive calls for player appearances. And then receiving calls for player appearances, I let most of the people that are asking how much our players require for a fee. And as I go over each player and who's asking for players, I make sure all the logistics are covered, time, date, place, etc. So when I go to a player, I can give him answers as to exactly what is being asked of him. That's the one thing I've always tried to do is I want specifics when I go to a player, try to get that player to enhance and help the publicity for the Chicago White Sox and the team in the community. As the day goes along and I get to around 2 o'clock, now it's time to get into the clubhouse, deal with the players, talk to them about what I've received during the day, find out how they feel about doing specific things, set up interviews, pregame, live shots, taped interviews.
The key to my job is getting players to do things for us, whether it be interviews or different sessions, anything that we might need. And Dana is the key. He helps us with everything, whether it be on the road or in Chicago. He's always there for us. He answers calls. He's running around like a crazy man, but he's always available for us, and we're very happy to have him.
Well, the White Sox acquired Bo Jackson in the spring of '91. Myself and my boss, Doug Abel, who I work with, we knew that once we got an athlete of the stature of Bo Jackson, there would be an enormous amount of calls from national, local media, everyone from entertainment to Newsweek would acquire because of Bo's injury and now at the White Sox assignment. And working with Bo Jackson, he's a very straightforward person. You give Bo the logistics of what's going on, Bo Jackson deals with you straightforward. From the White Sox standpoint, Bo Jackson doesn't really talk pregame. He talks a lot postgame. That's always been his set of rules. Bo addresses the media at postgame. So you don't have to worry about setting up Bo pregame and pregame interviews. You don't have to worry about setting up Bo for interviews at the studio. Everything Bo does, he does at the park, and he does it postgame. It's been a great experience. I think everyone who works in the public relations realm should have the opportunity to work with a guy of that statue.
Dana's been a hard worker for the White Sox. He's really basically got the job done from year to year. In the short time I've been here, he's helped a lot. He's basically with the PR department, and his job is changing now. It's going to be difficult for a lot of people. They really don't know how important his job was. From time to time, when you got a lot of media and people representing different companies coming in, guys really don't know how important it is for Dana to tell them no, that we can't do that, do this or do that at a certain time. And it's going to be very difficult to replace him. He's had the experience. He's been here a couple of years, and he's well respected around the league.
Dana, he's a good role model. I don't see too many people in this position, that do what he does around the clubhouse. He's heartwarming. When I first got here last year, first year, he met me, open arms. He was like, whatever I have is yours.
Dana Noel is one of the hardest workers in the White Sox organization. I really appreciate all the good things that Dana has done for me. I can remember an instance when Wilson Alvarez pitched that no-hitter in Baltimore early in the year. Without the help of Dana Noel, there's no way that I could have gotten down there and gotten that the big interview, because it's something that we really needed for that particular game. But in addition to Dana working hard and spending so many hours with us and the ball club, he's really a great guy and a great friend.
I think if the Lord's willing, I'd like to shoot for the moon. That's always my goal. I would love the opportunity to be a general manager in football, baseball, or basketball one day, because that's something that hasn't been done. And if I'm a pioneer, I'd be very happy.
Right down the line, friend to friend, it's yours and mine.